I don't like telling this story, but if it keeps someone from taking a job without asking questions, then maybe it's worth it. 3 summers ago, I got hired to remodel an old 2-story on Rock Point Road. It was isolated, overgrown, and listed under a shell company. I should have walked when the owner said, "Just don't touch the basement," but they were paying nearly double my rate, half up front. At first, it was just a normal fixer-upper. Rotten drywall, broken windows, warped floors. But the house had a presence. Not dramatic, just a heavy quiet. Like the walls were listening. I ignored it. I've worked on worse. But on the 3rd day, I noticed the door to the basement had moved. I mean, literally shifted an inch, like someone tried to force it open from the inside. I mentioned it to the contact I'd been emailing. They responded in all caps, "Do not open the basement." The next night I was working late, sanding floorboards upstairs. No power yet, just my lantern and a Bluetooth speaker playing low jazz to keep me company. Then it stopped. Dead silence. The lantern flickered once, then went out. I heard something downstairs. Not footsteps. Breathing. Not the normal kind either. Deep, wet, uneven, like someone was drowning and inhaling at the same time. I froze at the top of the stairs. I don't know how long I stood there before the sound faded. I packed up and left without finishing the job for the day. Next morning, the front door was wide open. My tools were still inside. Nothing stolen, but on the freshly sanded floor, someone or something had etched the word "down" in long, jagged letters. I was done. I emailed the company to cancel the job and told them I'd return the deposit. That night, I woke up choking. It felt like someone's hands were around my neck. I scrambled to the bathroom, half asleep, and looked in the mirror. My lips were purple, eyes bloodshot, and on the mirror, written in condensation, "Down." I gave in. I drove back to the house the next day and, with dread, opened the basement. The air hit me like rotted meat and something sweet. There were stairs, but they didn't look right. Too narrow, almost spiraling. At the bottom, there was an altar, old, cracked, covered in black wax and animal bones. The walls were covered in symbols. One looked like an eye with a needle through it. I felt something brush past me, but there was no wind. I ran. And here's the part no one believes. Ever since that day, I don't dream anymore. Not once. But when I close my eyes, I see the basement. I see the altar. And I hear the breathing. Sometimes it sounds like it's just behind the wall. And sometimes it calls my name. I'm not into paranormal stuff. I teach science. But my wife, she eats it up. Ghost tours, tarot, astrology memes, you name it. So when we went down to New Orleans for our 10th anniversary, I booked the damn Voodoo tour just to make her happy. A walking night tour through the French Quarter, ending in some courtyard no one talks about on Yelp. The guide's name was Papa Noir. He wore this sharp black suit, red beads around his neck, and a top hat he never took off. I assumed he was just playing a character. He had a silver tongue, real smooth, told stories like he'd lived them. But I noticed early on, he never blinked, not once. I kept checking. He brought us to this courtyard behind a rusted iron gate, said it wasn't on maps anymore. that it used to be a temple for an old mambo who was wronged by a wealthy man. She cursed him and all his sons, and to this day, he said, if a man with the same kind of sin in his blood steps onto that soil, she knows. I didn't laugh when everyone else did. He looked straight at me, said, some blood betrays its owner, and some owners forget what they did. His eyes were pale gray, too pale. I remember thinking he must have had contacts in, or cataracts. That night, my dreams weren't mine. I saw a swamp at night full of animal bones, a woman standing knee-deep in water, eyes sewn shut, swaying, her mouth opened wider than it should. She whispered in a language I didn't understand, but I felt the meaning. Confess or rot. I woke up gasping. My wife was still asleep, but the TV was on. We never turned it on. Over the next few days, things got worse. I'd find handprints on fogged mirrors. My phone would buzz with voicemails, empty except for the sound of flies and whispering. One night, I looked in the hotel mirror and saw something stitched across my reflection's lips. I finally told my wife. That's when she broke down and asked, was it just once? I didn't even ask how she knew. I confessed. It was years ago, drunk. I thought I buried it. We left New Orleans early. Back home in Waldorf, I tried to move on, but it followed me. Every mirror fogs when I walk by, even in the car. My students say I mumble in class, even when I think I'm silent. A neighbor's dog won't come near me anymore.
And sometimes, just before I fall asleep, I smell smoke and swamp water. I see her again, standing in my hallway. Her eyes are still sewn shut, but now she points at my chest. Last night, I woke up with a needle on my pillow, still wet.
Like and subscribe for more eerie tales.